One of my favorite questions I get asked as a residential realtor is it the right time to sell? And I get to break out one of my favorite impressions of Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, and I just get to go, duh.
Duh.
I'm a realtor. It's the right time to sell. But really, today, in today's video, we're going to jump through some of the things that we go through to help people make the right decision when it's the right time to sell and the wrong time to sell, and the ways to work through that and the reasons behind it. It's going to be an amazing video. We're pumped to be here with you. Thanks for joining us. Let's get into it. Sometimes people go through and just don't know, is it the right time? What's going on in the market? And that's the single biggest mistake we think people make, is they talk about real estate, but they aren't even in the game. They're on the sidelines and they're watching real estate happen. If they want to be in the game, they got to come down out of the stands. They got to train a little bit. They got to put on some gear and they got to get in the game. So that being said, what are the right reasons to sell? Well, one of the first ones that we run into is, hey, I lost my job and I can't afford this house anymore, or I need to get the equity out of this house to move. So if you lose your job and you're in, got your reserves and you're getting into your reserve account a little bit, you want to go ahead and get this house sold. Well, that's something that we run into sometimes. Maybe you had a job gain, you got a new job and you're moving out of the area. That's another really good reason. And you're like, hey, I just don't want to manage something cross continental. And, another one we go through, that life does happen in and out of our houses. And maybe there's been a recent death, maybe a sibling or a loved one or family member, an inheritance that, a parent maybe that's going through, and you're just like, hey, we're just going to sell the house and, split the proceeds. And so we're going to go ahead and sell. And then there's the death of a relationship, right? A divorce, and you've got to sell in that situation, and probably the best thing for both people in that regard. But you just never know. Every individual situation is specific, but those are the most common reasons that we find that are good reasons that we're like, yep, we're going to go ahead and get these houses sold. Now, the conversations that we get into with other people about, hey, I want to time the market and I just want to move up. Well, that's not necessarily one of the best conversations to be having, and timing the market just doesn't happen. I want to time the market just right. And that's just fictional. That's not real. And we're being really honest here. If you want to see some stories, we could tell you some stories about that. I've had clients that want to sell for absolute top, and then immediately later when we're talking about their purchase, they're like, oh, the market's not any good. And I'm like, I was just on the phone with you. Like, I feel like I've got two different phones in my hand. You can't time the market any more than you can time the bottom. And so more motivation is like, hey, we need more space, right? We need it for a reason. There's always an opportunity. That part about buying a ticket for the market and standing on the sidelines and watching, that's what you're doing unless you're in process with a real professional. And I really advocate for that. It is a crazy time in residential real estate. And I promise you, in my 22 years and 1,100 families served, this is one of the times more than ever that you need a pro, especially when you're buying from something like that move up or the move down. Those are super critical because you have multiple transactions happening in multiple directions. And you really, really need top quality professionals involved, because it really can, simplify the process. I've got a listing that's coming on the market here in Middle Tennessee right now that we've already solved 5 significant issues that would have had significant impact on the process and on the transaction before the house is even on the market. And it's saved them tens of thousands of dollars already. Just know that it's a key time to make sure you want a professional. If you're in our area, we would love to be in touch and love to connect and talk with you about those advantages that we give you in the market here in Middle Tennessee. Or if you need us to make an introduction to someone in your markets, please reach out. We get a call about once a week from you all out there. So thanks for that. So again, you're never going to sell at the absolute peak and you're never going to buy at the absolute bottom. The reality is the blend of the two is, can we reach our goals, right? Can we get to where we want to be? And is it the time to do it? So, you start to look at, can we sell our house? What do we need to do in order to do it? What's the fair market? And where does that take us? Does it help us get to where we want to be? The rest of that, the opportunity comes in as we're in the market, right? Again, that's the part of not being a spectator anymore. Now we're in the game, and you can only do so much preparation. You've got to get into it to find those opportunities. The market is moving all the time and everyone has different needs. There's dozens of examples that I can give you and have given in some other videos about the opportunities and the deals. There's always a deal, but it's not happening when you're watching. You got to be in the game to see it and know it and be ready to strike. We've got a client right now has missed two different houses, two different ones, because they weren't ready. They haven't done the right steps, and they've missed houses that would work for them, and they've got some really specific needs. So the first thing is you got to get ready and be in the market, because you can get a deal, and there's a deal in any market. Now, one thing that comes up with folks when we're talking about, okay, we're looking at your house, should we sell it? Let's see how much equity is in it. And that next conversation comes up as always about, what about the capital gains? Well, in general, we've done several videos about that. Leave the link here, but you can see right here, we've done this video about capital gains, and there's lots of different rules that you have to make sure you qualify for. But you're going to find we're going to talk about capital gains here in a minute and help you get started in real estate investing, because many of our clients don't know where to get started, and we've got our best advice on where you could get started as real estate investors and building generational wealth. Now, if you've lived in your home any 2 years, at least 2 years, you can have a primary home sale capital gains exemption, which means you could single person could have up to $250,000 capital gains tax free. Or if you're married filing jointly, you can have up to $500,000 after all of your expenses that you can take capital gains tax free. And that can be a huge asset into building your generational wealth and getting to the next house that you want to move up to. And that's always that first step. So you want to consider that. Again, check out that video. We've already done that. There's lots of rules and qualifications that you have to have around it, but it can be a really big tool to help you get to your goals. Now, another thing that we tell people is we want to make sure you got your reserve account up, right? Everyone wants to always stretch and do a little bit more than they're qualified for, but make sure you've got 4 to 6 months of reserves, because things can and do happen. COVID happened, right? No one knew that was coming, and no one knew for a few months how things were going to work out, right? And how we didn't know if everyone was going to have jobs and if everyone was going to still have income. And so having those reserve accounts can let things kind of settle out. There's always things that happen. There's always weather events. There's always natural things that happen. There's just things that happen across the world that have impact on us. So it's always a good idea to have that reserve account. So if you don't have that reserve account, it's probably not a good idea to sell. We need to focus on, building that reserve account before we go to sell, because whether you're moving up or down or right sizing, there's a lot of expenses in getting a house startup and in the move. Make sure one of your keys is that if you're not ready to sell and you don't have that reserve account ready, then you may want to hold off on selling. So if we're just meeting for the first time, my name is Alex, and I'm your friend in real estate in Nashville. We've been helping people make Nashville home for over 22 years, over 1,100 families served, and $500 million in volume. And we love sharing content like this with clients, but content like this so you can discover us. So if you know someone that's moving to Middle Tennessee in the next few years, please share our channel with them, share this video with them, and drop us a comment below. It helps us find other people just like you. And if you're not moving to Middle Tennessee, but would like someone that we know that works like this, that's got some professional expertise that can help accelerate your search and protect you, we'd be happy to make that introduction for your specific market too. But thanks for being here for this video. Smash that subscribe button, give us a like, and drop a comment below, because that helps us find other great people like you. Let's get back to it. So if you've always wanted to look at investing, maybe the house that you're in is the best house to start with investment. Well, why do you say that? Like, Alex, why would you want to do that? Well, there could be a financing vehicle that would allow you to go ahead and put some money down on your next house, but keep your house that you've lived in more than 2 years. Now, that capital gains section we were just talking about allows you to sell your primary home, any home that you lived in any 2 of the previous 5 years. They don't have to be consecutive, but any 2 of the previous. So what that means is you could move out, have someone else move into it, pay down the debt, build up your equity for 3 years, and then sell it and still use your primary home sale exemption 3 years after you were there. Now, another great reason for this to be your first investment property, it's your house, and no one knows it better than you, and you've been taking great care of your house. And so what a great opportunity to go through. Now, people say, well, I don't want to do that because the renters are going to tear up my house. And that may be, but you're going to have to prep your house to get it ready for market anyway, because you have torn up your house. So you definitely will have to do do some preparation for the rental market and the sale market. But don't worry about that, because again, often the value, the appreciation, the debt reduction, and having the house ultimately helps you build more times than not, and it actually outpaces anything else. Now, we've actually had clients call, and we set up reminders with our clients that don't sell and go, hey, this is year 3. Are we going to go ahead and sell this time, or are we going to keep it in the portfolio? Is it just rolling right along? And eventually it gets to a point where it becomes cash flow. I had a property that I would have given away for almost $150,000 several years ago. And now it has almost, let's see, it's almost 4 times. It's worth almost $500,000. It's cash flowing. It only has about $70,000 in debt on it, and someone else is paying most of that off, and we end up with a little bit of cash flow from it too. So I'll tell you what, I would love to own everything that I ever lived in, and I think that's a good strategy. That could be your strategy. Or you may say, no, we want to do a different kind of investment. That could be actual local rental property in your local area. It could be multifamily investments, or it could be something really super fun. And people often overlook that investment. Like, should I sell? Well, maybe I want to take a little bit of money out of my house and buy a lake house or a beach house or a mountain house, a vacation property, something fun that could also be income producing that I'm going to use. And you could do that. That's a conversation about why should I sell? Is it the right time to sell? You just never know. Think about it. But with that 2 years, any 2 of the previous 5, it may be a good reason to keep and own this property. Just a fun tip from us. So you've gone through and you've decided it is your time to sell. Well, you need to make sure of 2 key things. It is your time to sell. So 2 key things. We absolutely categorically agree with getting the house ready for market, staged for market, and doing a pre-inspection. Not actually 3 different things, but those are things that we absolutely think you need to do. Too many times in the market, we see houses not ready for market, that aren't prepped and aren't going to see their highest yield when they're on the market. And so make sure when you're thinking about taking your house to market, you want to go ahead and make sure you're getting those things done. It can save you money in the long run, show out against the other competition in your price category and in your geography. But most importantly, it'll help you sell quickly and smoothly and recognize that equity, because it is that time to sell. I'm going to say it's the most important time of all time to have a true professional with you in your process of buying and selling. And I'm going to tell you, it's more complicated than ever before. There are more things happening, and a true professional in the real estate industry can absolutely make the process so much better, help guide you through the emotional parts of this, but more importantly, have some hyper local knowledge and experience that can help solve problems that you may or may not be anticipating right now and in the process. So I'm going to tell you, we've got different videos on our channel that you can go through about the things you should ask an agent and the ways you should hire an agent, who you should be talking to, and the qualifications they should have. But there's just so many things that go on in the process. We've got a client right now that's on the market, and we've got them positioned, and they've got a couple different things happening. One of the things people are doing in the market right now, agents and clients are negotiating around the showing time, and that's actually keeping houses from selling. And you're like, what do you mean? I can't believe that. Well, that's just a current market condition that we're helping our clients have an advantage over other people by knowing that and helping them be prepared and have opportunities to get people in their houses when their competition may not be. And that gets them in our house sooner than theirs, and they can pick ours because they couldn't get into the other one. We literally are locking out the competition. So if you want to know more about that, we'd love to share time with you. We've got links below where you can schedule time with us, but that's something that you really want to make sure that you're hiring a professional. Again, it would be our honor to talk to you if you're looking in Middle Tennessee, but if you need our introduction to one of our partners across the country, one of our biggest things is our assets of agents across the country that we spend time with all the time and knowing what's going on, so we can help accelerate you in your search and in your specific local market. If you're looking for that jewel box house that's out there, it's going to be a process. And as we said in the very beginning, just lean into the process, get connected with your professional that's going to guide you, and know that there are some things that you absolutely have to do. Some right reasons, some wrong reasons, but maybe it's the right time for you to get into investment, either that fun investment or just having this investment that someone else pays on for maybe longer than you lived in it. could be a way that you create some generational wealth for the future. Thanks for joining us today. Again, my name is Alex, and I'm your friend in real estate in Nashville. It's my honor to share time with you. Check out these other videos that we think will be very similar to this. We'd love for you to subscribe to our channel and drop us a comment below. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you here real soon.